Do you remember reading cartoons when you were small? Do you remember the comics Tinkle, Amar Chitra Katha, and so on? Once a huge part of our childhood, now they're just faded memories tucked away into our subconscious. But artists like Riddhi Rohit are bringing the nostalgia back. Her art beautifully blends elements of Indian folklore and Far Eastern cultures. In case you didn't get it, anime. Her art style, fostered during her school years and then nurtured through her college days, is now giving way to beautiful home decor and accessories. Her online store, The Odd Trunk, has products that scream cuteness. And her designs today are celebrated not just in India, but in far flung places like Brazil. Welcome to the fifth episode of mojoMakers Season 2, where we celebrate Riddhi's creative expressions and discover the mistakes and milestones that build a distinctive home decor brand. Hi Riddhi, thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of Season 2 of mojoMakers. We are so glad to have you.
Thank you for having me here, Rahi. Yeah.
So Riddhi, tell us, what is Odd Trunk?
I'm an artist and illustrator, and Trunk is my store where my art transforms to multiple products. And at Trunk, I aspire to make gifts and home decor that's aesthetic as well as affordable. And I also work on figuring out ways to bring in art to people's home through the products I design.
That's such a beautiful concept. Is it something that is purely online?
Yeah, currently Trunk functions completely online, but I do take part in exhibitions across the country.
Okay, and when did you start selling online?
It all began in 2017 when I was working on my graduation project for my undergrad degree in visual arts. And I had an exhibition where I could display my work for the project. And I got quite a good response from the crowd and a few orders. And that's when I decided I should take this forward as a business online. So I opened up an Instagram page where I'd post my work, and this later on grew to become a website.
That sounds so good. So from 2017 to now, that's about 4 to 5 years. What are the different kind of products that you started selling on an online store?
My first ever product was digital downloads of my do-it-yourself dolls. And I later started making home decor pieces. So currently at Odd Trunk, I have an assortment of collectibles like fridge magnets and trinkets, and home decor pieces that are made of canvas and wood, scented card charms, and also a few art pieces.
And out of these, is there a piece which is particularly close to your heart?
The do-it-yourself dolls would always be very close to my heart since it's my first ever product and where I started.
Is the do-it-yourself dolls, are they also your best-selling product?
Not really. My best-selling products would be my scented card charms, and they're my most recent product.
Okay. So what exactly are these scented card charms?
So the scented card charms are a fun way to bring in art out of your homes to your cars as well, and the customers love them.
Of course, I think right now everybody wants that, that small piece of colorful but extremely unique thing to spruce up their living rooms, their bedrooms, and now, as you said, right, these are in your car as well.
Yeah, it does make your ride a lot happier and more pleasant with a bit of art.
And since you're the one doing it, every piece is going to be unique, right?
I guess, yes.
So you're telling me that in 2017, when it's all started as a part of your graduation project, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you do something for a university and then now it's a business. What happened in the middle? How exactly did you decide to take the leap?
Right after my undergraduate degree, I decided to pursue a degree in fashion management at NIFT. Now, this was a slightly different field and it focused on other aspects of design, like the selling part and the marketing part. And after this degree, I did gain a lot of confidence to take this forward as a business. And I learned relevant skills in marketing as well as entrepreneurship.
But was that an intention when you started the course in fashion designing?
Oh, sorry, it's fashion management.
Okay. So see, that's the thing. You're saying you learned the entrepreneurial skills there, but did you originally want to do fashion management?
I did get interested in various aspects of fashion management, and I did take up a couple of internships that focused on things like social media marketing and also artificial intelligence in fashion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and these are really interesting career options. But eventually, I did realize I need complete creative freedom to function at my best. And that's when I decided entrepreneurship is the way to go for me.
Has your art been the same throughout all of this time, or has it evolved?
It has evolved multiple times because, your art changes as you change as a person and you're exposed to more things that may interest you. But I think the basic elements of my art and the style and the colors I choose always remain the same.
That's so interesting. So, what is the inspiration behind the specific visual language that you have chosen?
I grew up in Chennai and Tanjavur, and both are places with a lot of art and heritage around. So there's a lot of
Absolutely.
inspiration around me at all times. And I was exposed to a lot of art through books and TV. And I read comics a lot, Amar Chitra Katha in particular, which got me very interested in Indian mythology.
Yes, absolutely. I thought the name creates such strong flashbacks for me.
Yes, and I also watch a lot of anime, and that has really influenced my art style till date. And it also got me interested in Far Eastern cultures. So I borrow a lot of creative elements from Far Eastern cultures, and that's all because of anime and my fascination with Japanese culture as well.
That's interesting. So you're telling me that on one hand you have Indian mythology, Indian folklore, right? Because Amar Chitra
Mhm.
Katha, and all these, especially in South India, it's so rich in Indian folklore, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and on the other hand, you're saying anime, which I just know that when I was in school, I used to see so many of my classmates, they used to doodle anime on the last pages of their exercise books.
That would be
So
every page of my book, and teachers were not happy with that. I'd get into so much trouble.
no, but I'm very sure your teachers are going to love the fact that you're utilizing it right now, and that too so creatively.
It does feel amazing when teachers, tell you that they remember that you used to draw a lot and now that's your career. That's very heartwarming.
I'm sure as an artist that must be so good.
It is.
So as I was saying, right? So there are these two very distinctive cultures that you are in getting inspired from, and then what do? You sort of blend them together. How exactly is the creative process like?
Yeah. My creative process is not very planned. It's very spontaneous, and I have no idea of how my final artwork would look like. I've blended two of my childhood fascinations together to come up with my creative
Uh-huh.
style. And I experiment a lot with colors, lines, and sketches. And I put all of these together to create my artwork.
So is there a process where maybe you sometimes show it to certain people and then decide to put on the products, or how do you decide what the final product is going to be like?
Once I'm done with the design or artwork, I try to figure out products I can put them on. And at this point, I keep experimenting with various materials. Some art might look nice on a cushion cover, some might look nice on a lampshade.
Hmm.
I spend time figuring what goes where. And if it works out on the product I intended to work on, I just go with it.
So, Riddhi, this actually brings me to the fact that you have to choose, right? If your art would look good on a certain product. So, has home decor, has it always been your plan, or that's just something that fit well with your designs?
I chose to go with home decor because personally, I love home decor and I love collecting creative home decor pieces. And when I'm not creating, I spend a lot of time redoing my room or redoing my home.
Okay.
And for this reason, I chose to focus on home decor.
So, it has a very, very, very personal connection to you.
It does.
So, do you remember the first sale that you had?
The first sale that I had would be back in 2018 at my final projects exhibit, and it was to a friend. She pre-ordered almost all of the stuff I had on display, and I was very happy. That was my first sale.
Don't you love the supportive friends like that?
Yes, and I'm surrounded by a very creative bunch of friends, and they keep me inspired all the time. Yeah, and my first online sale was on Etsy for my do-it-yourself dolls. It was a customer from Brazil, and this
Brazil.
was
So it
yeah,
was
and this
not
was
in
my
India.
no, and this was my first international sale.
So how many international sales have you had since then?
I had a couple of them from various countries.
So do you think that your brand has, especially since we know the kind of visual language that you prefer, do you think that your brand has a special appeal outside India?
I think so because Indian mythology by itself is a very fascinating subject, and anyone could get so immersed in it because there's so much. And anime is also something that has a huge fan base and makes people love the visual language of anime as well. And I've created a blend of these two to make Indian mythology interesting in my own way.
So it's actually not just the fact that people recognize anime, but the fact that it also has another culture in it, and that it, talks so much about India, and it's so vibrant that I guess
Yeah,
it
I
holds
think
in it has a special tug to the emotional connect comes through.
yes, I think that is my way of storytelling.
So do your designs tell a story?
Some of them do, yes. So recently, I worked on a collection of fridge magnets titled Cats in the Backyard. This is a slightly
Okay.
different theme from what I usually work on. And the characters are based on the cats that visit my backyard. So I've created a story around them with the illustrations depicting them doing the things they do every day, like hiding inside flower pots and hanging out around the window.
That is so cute.
Yeah, so I think that tells a story by itself. And some of my products, if you notice the details, you might be able to think of your own story.
For example, why don't you walk us through a product that you really like and which shows this to be true?
I worked on a collection of wall art titled Coexist. It shows gods from Indian mythology with their animal counterparts.
Okay, that's interesting.
It kind of brings out the relationship between them and how they interact with each other.
Was it for a special occasion, or is it just one of your product ranges?
Not really. It was a personal project which later on became one of my product ranges.
Okay. So as you said, right, creative inspiration hits you first and then you convert it into a product.
Yes.
Okay, so an entrepreneur is often, quite scared that their next product is going to fail. And since you are somebody who does go through the process where you're first creative and then you decide what is going to be the product, do you have any methods in which you try to minimize the risks of the product failing, or do you just like to go with it?
This is indeed a very challenging problem because some products may not do as well as you thought they would, and some may do
Mhm.
better. So, for this reason, I start off by making my products in very small batches and I list them on my website and I check customers' reaction towards it and their buying habits. And based on this, I decide whether to make more products or to stop the range. So, I keep my risks minimal by making products in really small batches.
So then, but sometimes do you, because this I've heard from a lot of artists, right? That sometimes you just get an inspiration in the middle of the night and you have to get up and open your sketchbook and do that. But on other days, maybe you have like 10 orders waiting for something and you're facing a creative block. What do you do then?
I face creative blocks a lot, and in fact, I'm facing one right now.
Okay.
Yeah, creative blocks are the worst. So for this reason, I tend to avoid custom orders because I'm not always at my creative best. And like I told you, I work with random spurts of creativity rather than in a
Mm-hmm.
consistent way. And when I do have that creative spell, I try to make the best use of it and I create as much as possible. And when I have an art block, I focus on other aspects of the business, like setting up the website, social media marketing, and looking at logistics.
So, do you have a team to help you?
At present, Odd Trunk functions as a one woman team where I take care of
Okay.
most of the things with the occasional help of my mother for some things like bills and the financial part. of the business. But I do consider my vendors and manufacturers as a part of the team because they help me with making my products better, and they give in suggestions, and they're very important in the entire business as they make the final product.
So you have built relationships with these people.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's a very valuable insight. I think for a small business, especially having a set of people that you can trust with your business, I think that's extremely crucial.
Because they've seen me since day one when I was this college student, bringing in various ideas to experiment with them. And yeah, they've seen our trunk grow. So I do consider them as a part of my team.
No, that's really nice. So, what are the long-term future plans that you have for Outcome? You have, maybe you want to expand your business, maybe you want to actually open pop-up shops, maybe you want to sell globally. Like, what is in store for Outtrunk?
My future plans for our trunk include making the products available at various retail outlets across the country and hopefully across the globe as well, so that the products
Okay.
are available easily. And I also hope to open a physical store sometime soon.
Sometime soon.
Mhm.
Is there a timeline which you are targeting?
I do not have a timeline in specific, but I'm just waiting to see how it goes.
Okay. And I'm very sure it's going to be such a huge success. I think everybody listening to this, please go visit Trunk's online store. She has such quirky, cutesy stuff. It's absolutely adorable.
Thank you so much, Rahi.
So, Riddhi, as a home decor and an accessory brand,
Mhm.
how do you constantly strive to improve your business?
I take the feedback given by my customers very seriously, good or bad. And before launching a product, I give samples out to my friends and acquaintances, both in the design field and people who are not in the design field. And I get their feedback and I apply this to the final batch of products.
Okay, so it's extremely review based. You're very, very in tune with what your customers want.
Yes.
And in this, what is that one challenge maybe that it took you some time maybe to overcome, something that you have been facing and is still something that you need to work upon?
I have a challenge I face frequently, even now, and that would be translating my design or vision of a product to an actual product. Because sometimes your designs might not turn out the way you envision them to on a physical product. And it takes a lot of experimenting and a lot of corrections to get it right. This has happened to me recently, last year, when I
Mm-hmm.
was working on a collection of Christmas decor. And I think I was running out of time and I had like 2 days to display these at the pop-up. And
Okay.
the designs didn't turn out the way I drew them on paper. I used a different color palette and they came out a little dull. So I had to spend an entire day hand painting 150 pieces of Christmas decor on
My
both
God.
sides just to make it look as colorful as I wanted them to be. And that was indeed very challenging, but I'm glad I overcame it and I could display these products on time.
But I think now that I'm hearing you, this might be a drawback that most home decor small businesses might face, right? Because home decor is something that you envision it in your head, but then you're not applying it to normal paper like a painting. It is usually going
Yes,
on different materials.
it'll always not look the way you've depicted it on a painting, and it's going to look
Hmm.
different for every single material. So you have to experiment a lot. And one advice I'd give to home decor brands like me is always get samples.
Definitely. I mean, 150 Christmas
Yeah,
objects.
I made the mistake of not sampling it because I was running out of time and I didn't have the time to check samples, and this happened. So yeah, always get samples.
I want to get samples now, God. So, but also that ends well, right? Like you could get all the
Yes,
products
I
time.
managed to paint them all on time and they turned out fine. And I got
That's
to
great.
display them
That's
on
great.
time. So yeah, it worked out.
Okay, so do you usually face a struggle between like the creative and the marketing aspects of your business?
All the time. Because when you're a creative person, you spend hours and days designing the product, and you have barely any time to look into the marketing part of the business. And yeah, time management is one of my biggest struggles here. And people use platforms like Instagram, social media in general, a lot for marketing. And there's this pressure to constantly create and keep posting something every day. But creativity takes its space and it takes a lot of time. And I think this pressure is another challenge.
So, what do you usually do to try and overcome it?
I'm still figuring it out.
And where does Instamojo then come into this whole picture?
I knew nothing about starting a website and how to go about it. And Instamojo made the whole process very easy and very seamless. And I could create my website in a matter of a few hours. And it's been very helpful, as I think it's a very easy way to put your work out there in a website in a very neat and organized way.
Thank you for saying that. Are there any new product or product ranges that you're planning to launch on your Instamojo online store?
Yes, I'm planning to launch lampshades real soon. I'm
Okay.
working on it. I'm in the process of sampling. So I hope they turn out the way I've envisioned. Yeah, that. And there are also a lot of wall decor pieces that are going to come.
We are so excited about it. And listeners, please always sample. I think that is one of the biggest takeaways that we can take from this conversation. Just as an ending note, could you tell our viewers, somebody who is also starting their own small business, own home decor small business, what is that one advice, except the sampling, what is the one advice that you would like to give to a younger you, the Riddhi that started the online store way back in 2017, just started out fresh in the e-commerce space? What is one thing that you know now that you would like her to know?
All I'd like to say is stay curious and enjoy the journey. I think my curiosity as the younger Riddhi has brought me here. And I like how things are panned out for Odd Trunks. So I don't have any advice in specific, but yeah, I just ask her to enjoy the journey.
Thank you so much, Riddhi. And I'm really, really hoping everybody who has heard your story today, they are also inspired by you. They also keep their curiosity alive. They also learn from the mistakes that you have made. And as I said before, guys, please do check out Odd Trunk and her creations and maybe drop in a comment or a text to her telling her how much you liked her creations. Thank you so much, Riddhi, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rahi.
A key business strategy that I can take away from this conversation is that as an artist, your designs won't necessarily translate into good products. Make it a practice to always sample your designs and then modify them to ensure the product is up to mark. Another important concept that was uncovered in the conversation was creative blocks. Not at all uncommon, creative blocks are not huge business hurdles, but do ensure when you're going through a creative block, you utilize that time on cultivating other important aspects of your business, like marketing, accounting, etc. Because after all, as an entrepreneur, you will have to be a jack of all trades. Thank you, Riddhi, for taking the time to talk to us, and thank you to all our listeners whose support means a lot to small businesses like Odd Trunk. The links to her online store are in the description below. Tune in next Saturday to listen to the next episode of mojoMakers Season 2, powered by InstaMojo.